This is Anna Knapik. She's coming to us today to talk to us about the chakra system. And this is a super interesting conversation. It's a really fascinating topic that I am diving into personally right now. I have always known a bit about the chakras. I know what they are. I kind of know what areas of my life and what areas of my body they govern, but it's only now that I've really decided to dive into the world of chakras and really learn how the imbalances can affect my life and how I can really diagnose my own chakras. So I am so grateful that I came across Anna because this is her line of work. This is what she specializes in. Anna's a transformational guide, a yoga and meditation teacher, and she's traveled the world to over 50 countries. Part of this journey was a journey to discover and learn about the chakras. So I'm so delighted to bring her to the Clouds and Dirt community today. Anna, tell us a little bit about yourself, your awakening journey, and how you got into this fabulous world of chakras.
Of course, that will be my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure doing stuff with you, Megan. So thank you so much. And I'm so excited to share with you ladies today the concept of the chakras and not only my journey, but hopefully also your journey in a way, so that you can understand how the chakras could help you in your everyday life. Because part of my life mission I see as bringing the chakras to the modern woman, and that's why I'm so excited to be here, because I know this community is all about bringing the spirituality to the modern woman. So I couldn't be in a better place, I guess.
Absolutely. So we're so happy to have you.
As you said, I'm a transformational guide, a life coach, yoga and meditation teacher, and a big chakra lover. But before that happened, before I became that, I was in the corporate for almost a decade. I worked in many different countries for the biggest brands in the world. I worked in the area of marketing, which, as you can imagine, it's quite challenging. It's quite demanding, both physically in a way because I traveled a lot. I was leading an international project, and mentally, emotionally, in so many ways. And at some point back in 2015, I realized, whoa, this is not kind of the life I want. So something I was striving for like most of my adult life, at some point wasn't working. And so I quit my job, took all my savings, sold everything I had, and decided to embark on a world travel adventure. It was supposed to be initially just maybe for a year, I thought, and then I ended up living and leading this lifestyle for the past 4 years. And chakras were a big milestone on this journey, because as I traveled, as you can imagine, I know you've traveled too, Megan, quite a lot. At some point, as exciting and as beautiful and as life enriching as it is, it can be quite challenging. You're just outrooted. You kind of, it's hard to build like proper relationship, like love relationship, romantic relationships. Your friends are far away, sometimes on a different continent, sometimes just miles, thousands of miles away. So many challenges at the same time. And I did struggle with some challenges after a year of traveling. I returned to Europe because I am originally from Poland. I returned back home for the summer, and I realized, hey, something is not quite right. So I started visiting doctors, like medical doctors, and, doing some examinations and tests. And like every single doctor I came across, was telling me, I don't know, lady, what you mean, but because your tests just come out incredibly well, so, and yet you say you're not feeling well. And I say, yeah, I know I'm not feeling well because I know how well I can feel, I know myself that much. And so I decided, okay, something is clearly not working here, because the traditional medicine is not quite dealing with my condition. That was just actually just kind of insomnia and some generally, like I just didn't feel myself. I wasn't eating well. Like there were different symptoms, and I decided to embark on another journey. This time to Asia, and this is how I came across chakras. I was traveling around Southeast Asia. And I started in Vietnam, that particular journey, and I was meeting some healers there. They weren't quite helpful, and I landed up in the city of Siem Reap, which is the second city of Cambodia. And this is where I came across an energy healing center, and this is where all my chakra journey started. It was back in 2016, so 3 years ago. And so I got my chakras tested properly. I took a proper diagnosis, and this is where it just started. Basically, someone finally confirmed that something is clearly not working. Back then, both my root chakra was completely outrooted, and my heart chakra was like super struggling, and no wonder I wasn't working. I wasn't feeling well. So yeah, and I got an offer to stay in that energy healing center for training and for work, and I did. I spent there several months, and then I started doing my own work on transformational retreats, in my coaching and my courses. So that's a very long story. Sorry for this long story, but
I love it. Amazing.
I always like to tell it because it's real. It is real. There's no like, oh, I stumbled upon the chakras on the internet and I just like it. No, it's a real story, in the sense that I was really struggling. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing it with other women who may be struggling too, because I know this works. Because I really literally tested it on myself.
And I'm so interested because as I'm becoming to know, like chakras, they are energy centers, they're meridians. It's been studied for thousands and thousands of years through different cultures. And when you went to this center in Siem Reap, and they noticed that there was an imbalance in your root chakra and your heart chakra, what did that kind of do to your energy in the process of healing these two energy centers?
Mm-hmm. There were other imbalances too, but these two were like main, which like yeah, it was these were the most problematic ones. So this is how I guess also Reiki practitioners work. I'm a prana healer myself. Basically, if generally an imbalance is not like long-term, it's quite temporary. As a healer, you usually normally, like, I don't even want to go into this particular techniques, but you are usually able to kind of reverse the imbalance or just heal it. Let's call it this way. I don't want to go into like specific terms here. But you are able to do it. However, let's say if the chakra imbalance is caused by poor habits, bad lifestyle, of course it will be only temporary. I mean the reversal, or I mean the healing effect. However, if the imbalance, like in my case, was quite long term, like probably of many years, and especially it was like intensified by my personal situation, I guess you need more work. So of course a healer, like my healer back then, did a lot of work over the course of like 2 or 3 days to literally like work with my prana, with my life force, and with my energy to basically heal it, to bring it to balance, right? And then the next step was my personal work by meditation, by yoga. I use also personal. I love crystals. I even have 2 crystals here with me during this conversation, which I love. So basically, then you get a, depending on the healer, you get a personalized strategy. This is what I do usually, how I do it. You get personalized strategy and you work towards the healing, because it's a constant process. It's like with spiritual growth, you never stop learning and you never stop healing yourself in a way. There's always some wounds you need to kind of work on.
Yeah, and I'd love to kind of, after we discuss the different chakras, I'd love to have a bit of a conversation about how we can understand our own imbalances and treat them. But I think before we go any further, it would be great to kind of dive into the topic of energy and the multifaceted concept of energy and how it relates to the chakras, because I think we can't really dive into the chakras without having this understanding of energy. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So as you said, the concept of energy is multifaceted. It is diverse. It can be taken from so many different perspectives. And I always like to see all of their perspectives, or as many as possible, because I like to be multidisciplinary in many ways, So I always like to see, okay, how the brain works with energy. What's the connection here? How are we getting here to spiritual maybe? So what about the brain? What about the mind? What about mindset? What about physical aspects of energy? So just, there is a whole module in my course on energy only, as you know. So I don't want to I could talk for an hour about energy only, but just to give you an idea, for me, energy, for many people, actually I didn't come up with that. For many people, energy is just this basic life force. This is the life that is within us. It's called prana in Sanskrit. Prana is translated as a vital breath, some air. So everything that's just that we consist of, really. Everything we consist of as like human beings, everything, animals, nature, every single thing is energy on earth, in this dimension. So every belief we have, we hold, every thought we have, every emotion we experience, every action we take creates an energy vibration of different level that manifests in our physical reality. So it is in so many ways. I studied a lot the concept of the law of abundance, or the law of manifestation also, and brain work, mind work, and mindset, and how this actually it was the subject of my studies over the past probably 10-12 months. And this is excuse me, so fascinating, because now it all makes sense for me. I was struggling because for me energy and chakra work at the very beginning was very spiritual. So I felt like I couldn't talk to people who are just outside the spiritual circles, because they wouldn't, about the chakras and energy, because they wouldn't even be interested in it. However, now that I understand so much more about it than when I started my chakra journey, I understand, okay, since everything is energy, since everything creates vibration, including a thought, including a belief, and including an emotion we experience, we interact with everything. Everything creates energy interactions, like another person, our home, our environment, our closest people, our work environment. That's why it is so important that we are surrounded by positive vibration. It's real. Now the science has clear evidence saying that since everything is energy, everything creates energy interactions. If everything creates energy interactions, and it was it was proven by so many experiments scientifically since the 70s, but nobody wanted to talk about these things. Now these things just start to pop out, but this is nothing new. They did a number of experiments in the physics field, in metaphysics, quantum physics. They say, hey, since everything is energy and every interaction is energy interaction, also an interaction between two human beings is an energy interaction. So everything we are surrounded by, literally every person and every wall of your house consists of energy vibrating at certain level. Experience, generally, it's simplifying, but in a way it is so. We experience positive effects in our life. If, however, the vibration is low, is negative, things start to just fall apart. And if this imbalance in energy generally is long-term, this influences us internally. This influences our emotions, our thoughts, our mindset, and eventually every such imbalance shows itself in our physical condition, both here as humans and in our just everything that's manifested outside. So that's a long description, but basically energy has so many different dimensions, I feel. I like to talk about all of them, but basically from the metaphysical perspective, which is probably the closest to the chakras, basically energy is our life force, that everything that goes inside through our crown chakra and just fills us up with this energy, with this prana, with this life force, this cosmic force.
Thanks for that. And when we're dealing with imbalances in our chakra, is it an issue of like a lower vibration energy in one of our chakra centers? Can we have like a higher vibration energy in different ones? Like, can we kind of deal with it in low and high vibration terms within each chakra when it comes to imbalances and disorders?
Absolutely, we can deal with so many things even at the same time. This is what you really start understanding when you don't only study the chakras, like the concept. This is something I began to understand when I started actually healing people in that energy center in Siem Reap in Cambodia, where I realized, wow, this is unbelievable, like how complex this system is. That's why I'm super happy that the concept of chakras evolves and that people get so interested in it and so excited about it, and that it's actually entering like almost like, you know, common knowledge in a way, especially with in the era of the internet and social media. Yet I see so many simplifications almost, and so many, I don't want to say wrong information, but in a way yes too, but so above all, so many simplifications. You know, people think if they know these 3 or 5 or 4 processes we're going to talk about now, they know it all. I even recently listened to a podcast, and a lady had like her chakras diagnosed by a healer, and she got a little report, and then she felt so confident that she decided to talk about it on her podcast, discussing the chakras, like she just knew everything about it. And God bless her, because, you know, she's spreading the word. And as I said at the beginning, I believe everyone should have knowledge about it just to help themselves. But the concept is so complex and so in-depth, and you have to really understand in detail how the chakras work between each other too, how they interact too. So if, just to give you an example, if one energy center ceases to function properly for some reason, because there was a block, and we're going to talk about the blocks in a minute, usually another energy center takes over. But as it is in nature of things, if something takes over, an imbalance is created in the object, in the being that is taking over, because it cannot function properly on its own now, and realize, fulfill its functions. So like with everything else, I guess, every imbalance in, you know, in especially long-term imbalance in one chakra, in a way, influences the condition of other chakras too. So if I, let's say, if we say, I had a client just yesterday, and we did a diagnosis, and there was quite serious problems with both the sacral and the heart chakra. And she tells me, oh, so I will only focus on them now, and, you know, I will do my best to kind of, you know, bring them to balance. So we put together a strategy for it. But it is so important, I can't stress it enough, that we work all the way up, you know, from the foundation, from the base, because usually, even if it's just these two chakras, at the end of the day, all chakras are affected, because they're one system. It's like imagine you have problems with the lungs, with the respiratory system, right? And okay, it's just whatever, pneumonia one time, no problem. But if this is a long-term recurring issue, all organs in your body start to be affected by it. And for example, the heart stops functioning properly because it has to pump so much more and has to work so much stronger. I'm not a medical doctor by any means, so this is the closest example I found from something we might know commonly. But just to give you an idea, you know, one organ takes over, but also stops to function, you know, on its own properly. The same things happen, especially with long-term imbalances. So every imbalance, yes, influences other things in our life. And just to answer your question, there is usually a deficiency, so underactiveness in a chakra, or overactiveness, or excess, if you want to call it this way, energy. And of course, we always strive for a balance. We always try. We don't even want to have too much energy in one chakra, which some people say, okay, now if it's deficient, I'm going to do everything just to, you know, get it going. Yes, but we strive for balance. Balance is key, like with everything in life. Like the more I live, the more I realize that it is really the key to everything, you know. You can even overdo the good things. And so the same with our energetic system. We strive for balance, and balance means we achieve equilibrium energetically, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah, I mean, the more that I kind of dip my toes into the whole chakra system, the more I am seeing how complex and integrated that it is. And I totally hear what you're saying there. It's so wonderful that this information is getting out into the world, but I feel like it's just the very, very tip of the iceberg. And that's why I'm so grateful there's people like you who are designing the courses like you have, that really bring you deep, deep into this and give you the, you know, holistic knowledge of the chakras. So let's go and explore each one. Like you mentioned, it's all a system. So you can't just heal one chakra with and overlook the rest. And it all starts at the root chakra. So why don't we start at the root chakra? Tell us kind of, you know, we don't have all day, but like tell us about what it governs, what kind of imbalances in the root chakra might look like, and let's work our way up from there.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So root chakra, as you said, it's our foundation, it's our base. This is where all the processes start to exist, really. So without a strong, like in life, or like in a house, without a strong foundation, there is no stable, solid, strong house, right? At some point, even if it seems right, at some point it's going to collapse. Maybe a tornado comes or something happens. And just like in life, like with our immunity system, we can only go as long as we can go, provided everything is well. And when things start to kind of go the other direction, we start to experience also negative effects of it. The same here. So foundation, the root chakra, Muladhara is the Sanskrit name, is our base, is our foundation. So many processes that the root chakra governs. Most of all, they are related to our family, our tribe, our roots, like their name says, where everything we come from, because this is where our tribal beliefs are formed. This is where our beliefs as human beings are formed. You know, we may change them through social conditioning and through so many other things. Also, the work we do later in life, usually, being more awakened and aware. However, this is where it all starts, and this is like if people go to, let's say, when people go to therapy, any kind of therapy, but especially a therapy that focuses on psychoanalysis, on going really inward and going back to the relationship, also cognitive therapy too, in a way, right? And everyone, like, the therapist makes you go back to your you want to dig deep there and uncover what's actually not functioning, what's the root cause of the problem. The same with the chakras. At the end of the day, we always go back to the childhood. Maybe we don't dig this deep. This is on an energetic, and there are other ways of doing that, so you don't have to spend 2 or 3 years in therapy. That's the good thing about working with energy generally. However, you do go back to your, something I call tribe. I like to call it tribe because this is where everything is built. So the root chakra is also responsible for our general beliefs about the world, usually formed in our infancy. It is also responsible for our physical strength. It's also responsible for safety, security, survival, a general way of kind of providing for ourselves, supporting ourselves, material needs, finances, work, abundance. So basically, shelter, food, physical strength. It's a very masculine chakra, very like basic chakra in a way, that its only function is to ensure survival. However, it may not sound so exciting. However, if this chakra, as we said, is out of balance, you know, you can be the most spiritual person in the world, but your life is not going the way it could be going because your base is simply not there. So, for example, speaking about imbalances, psychologically, it can manifest through problems with financial stability, problems with generally at work, you know, losing work, losing jobs, and not being able, if you run your own business, not being able to support yourself. Stability, losing your ground. It's a lot of work about being grounded, being connected with your roots, like the name says. So again, you know, I know so many people who are like, okay, I wouldn't worry about the root chakra because, you know, I'm interested more in the spiritual stuff. Yes, that's great, but you do need to have a strong foundation to even be able to carry it all, because it's a lot.
And like you kind of mentioned before, there can be long-term imbalances and shorter ones. And, you know, your example when you were traveling and you had that root chakra imbalance, you know, I can relate to that. When I was just away for the last week and just being out of my home and out of my routine, I felt a lot of just, you know, scattered energy and, you know, perfect root chakra example. Hey.
Absolutely. 100%. I experience it regularly because, as you know, I travel a lot, and I experience it regularly. However, like with time, after all these years, I really learned to balance it myself, and even knowing that that's the case already puts you in a whole different position, you know. So that's why the self-consciousness and awareness is so, so important.
Yeah. So what's the next one? The sacral chakra?
Sacral. Sacral chakra, one of my favorites, and many ladies love it. However, many ladies tend to struggle with this chakra. It's a very feminine energy. Svadhisthana is the second chakra, and it's something maybe I should have said at the beginning, that chakras don't necessarily develop in a linear way. However, in a way, you do have to have like a little bit stronger, well-developed base, so that the first three lower chakras, which are our physical centers, so that the four remaining spiritual centers can in a way function too. So sacral chakra, second chakra, it's the chakra of our emotions. It's a chakra of feeling, of sensation. It all starts with the body, so the touch is very important for this chakra. However, it goes all the way through. So emotions, our emotional state, our everything that manifests in the body, both emotionally, both physically. So sensation, feeling, emotion in every possible sense. It's the body awareness too, a lot. It's the like on the creation level, actually bringing a human being to the world, and the creative force, creativity, understood by bringing to the world a new project, a new idea, a new business, whatever that is, a piece of art. So creativity, flow is very important. The element behind, so each chakra has an element that supports it. So the element of the root chakra is earth, and the element of the sacral chakra is water. So it's all about the flow. If the root chakra is out of balance, if the sacral chakra is out of balance, usually there is some block in the flow of energy, in the life flow generally. So if you're in the creative kind of line of work, I had so many people coming to me, like from advertising agencies, like graphic designers, web developers, like people who do create for a living, and say, hey, like I cannot, like I'm so not creative right now. So writers, artists just experience a lot the creative block. But generally, like in life, you stop to be, the flow of energy is impeded, and you stop to create ideas, solutions in life. Action sometimes, but action is more within the solar plexus chakra, which we're gonna talk about next. However, it all, as we said at the beginning, they are all so connected. So this is our sacral.
So if somebody then, like one of these people that come to you with a creativity block, what would you tell them to do? Like, how would you diagnose them, and what advice would you give them to get that sacral chakra moving and get the creativity flowing again?
Oh, so it depends what kind of tools we have at our disposal, because I do a lot of online sessions, but I do, for example, retreats in person with people. So this is where I can actually do some healing on people. And as I said, if the block is temporary, usually the healing helps like right now on the spot. However, if the block is more long term, usually I always, like with everything, I like to get to the root of the problem. And because you cannot heal something if you don't really know what's not working. Because problems with creativity may also be maybe also ascribed to our throat chakra, which is all about self-expression and communication, but these two are so connected. So for example, if the sacral chakra is not working properly, the sacral chakra creates things. But the task, the job of the throat chakra is to bring it to the world, whatever the sacral chakra produces. So if there's any imbalance in this flow, they influence each other so deeply that first it's so important that we get to the root as much as we can, to the root cause, because then I can say 100%, okay, it is your sacral chakra. Most of the time you can say it if you know more about these processes. However, I always want to be like, I always want to double check and see. So to answer your question, Megan, what do I do with people who struggle with creativity? Usually once we get to the root cause of the problem, it's already like half of the healing process is done, because usually this and all of a sudden something is just stopped working. It usually means a deficiency, underactiveness of the sacral chakra. So any kind of underactiveness, you want to first bring this energy, like get it going. So you do everything that is creative, but something that you really like. So nothing that you, let's say you're a writer and you struggle with writing now, and you just cannot, like, you write for work and you cannot do any work. So I say, okay, do something creative, but something completely different that will bring this life force back to your sacral chakra, but also kind of awakens this passion and awakens this desire to create, because everything is created at the level of desire, I believe. I think all good things that we create just come from, not from our solar plexus chakra, which is all about I have to perform, which is a little bit like our ego, kind of. I mean, by desire, I mean our heart desire. So everything is created, like all good things, I believe, in life are created, they come from the place of heart, as opposed to the place of ego. So I always try to, as I said, get to the root cause of the problem, and then just figure out what's the best way for this particular person to kind of get these creative juices flowing. Sometimes it's not even connected with the creative industry in any way. Sometimes it's creativity in real life. Let's say you face problems I don't know, you have nobody to look after your baby when you have to leave the house, but it's the solutions that you create in your everyday life. This, like, you've probably had like situations in your life when you feel like, oh my gosh, like you don't find solutions to simple situations. There are some days like this, and I guess everyone has it. I'm not saying it's a sacral chakra disorder right away, but usually it is the case when depressed, kind of feel kind of under the weather, but for a prolonged period of time. This is where you want to look, sacral chakra deficiency very often.
I love that. I love how you said the connectivity between the sacral and the throat chakra, and also about the desire and the difference between a desire born through the solar plexus and the heart. And I know, like, I'm only on module 1 of your course right now, but what I really liked was how the heart chakra was like connecting the higher chakras and the lower chakra. And it's not until the heart chakra is fully activated and open that we can really, tune into the higher chakra. So I'm excited to get to the heart chakra, but let's go into the solar plexus chakra now.
So personal power, character strength. It's the chakra of life force, but like channeling this life force through the whole system, through the whole body. It's also the chakra of action, motivation, determination. It's a very active chakra generally. It's all about movement, it's all about performing, about doing. It's all about acting. So the chakras, as I said at the beginning, they grow naturally from the root chakra up. It's not always in a linear way, as I said. However, like, certain processes have to happen in the lower chakras in order for the higher chakra to kind of fully develop. So, for example, with solar plexus chakra, it's very important that as we analyze the chakras from the beginning, from the root. So as I said, the root chakra is all about family and tribal relationships, right? In the sacral chakra, which I guess I didn't say, sacral chakra is also a very vital process of the sacral chakra is relationships, but on a very general level. So for the first time, the sacral chakra kind of, looks around and say, hey, it's not only my family I'm here with, it's also other people I coexist with. It's my neighbors, it's my friends, it's my colleagues, it's my partner that usually doesn't come from the family environment eventually. There are so many people at work, and the more you kind of the longer you live, the more you discover all these people around you. And here we come to the solar plexus chakra, which finally discovers, okay, so there was my tribe that was so important, then there were also other people that were important, but at the end of the day, it's all about myself and my almost like me being an individual. And this can go wrong too, in a way, like people with like with a big kind of ego, showing off through like almost like aggression, hostility, like showing off, like this kind of behaviors. This is a situation where the solar plexus chakra is overactive, for example, and they are being kind of, they're putting on this mask because their ego is so weak, so undeveloped. And by ego, I don't mean, I can mean also the Jungian ego, but here by ego is what is understood as the person as individual. And this is in our like modern world, sometimes ego is so like associated with so many like bad things in a way. But with a well-balanced, healthy solar plexus chakra, we need a strong ego, because the ego is what protects us. This is all the coping mechanisms that we develop in order to survive. So it's almost like a prolongation of the root chakra, which is all about survival, about safety, security. Here we develop a strong, a healthy ego for us to feel safe, to be protected. However, as I said, if this goes a little bit too far, we can experience basically overactiveness, excess in this energy center, and this can go in so many negative ways, like these super dominating leaders, super dominating partners. They want to like take control over you and over other people, like these like iron fist managers or politicians or like world leaders. This is all down to the disturbances, overactiveness of the solar plexus chakra. And conversely, if the solar plexus chakra is underactive, you feel the opposite. So you have no willingness to act. You feel not yourself. You don't have any motivation. You don't have any goals. You don't strive to achieve anything. You're just basically like floating, and the world is just taking you through life.
Yeah, I've seen and felt both sides of that spectrum before.
I guess we all did. So I don't know. I think you asked me this question. So overachievers, right? A kind of type of personality, which I am for sure. This is usually driven. These are people driven by the solar plexus chakra. And again, we all have we have character, certain character features, qualities. We also have we may be driven by one particular energy center in a way. So these super artistic people, this kind of I don't want to say like hippie style, but because I don't want to use too many kind of, I don't want to narrow this down. But just to give an example, those people who like always a kind of, in this kind of flow state of mind, which I always was jealous of, because I was like, how can you just,
I want more of that.
Exactly. But these are probably people driven by the by the sacral chakra, or maybe even by the throat chakra, but probably by the sacral chakra. Whereas like people who always have to act, achieve, perform, these are people who tend to be driven by the solar plexus.
It makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's do the heart chakra.
Heart chakra.
I'm excited for this one.
Is the center of love. Yay! So you didn't expect that, did you?
Shock surprise.
Yeah, but what many people don't quite understand. So I have many people come to me and say, yeah, but I'm in such a happy relationship, and why is my heart chakra not working? And then I say, hey, but one thing that people usually don't understand is that the heart chakra, anahata is its name, actually deals with all kinds of love, with all possible dimensions of love. So love of your partner, romantic partner, husband, of course too, but in so many other ways it deals with parental love, with love to your kid, with love of your friends, your colleagues, your like people you kind of exist or are surrounded by, the whole world, like people who serve you in like everyday life,
What about like self-love? Is it self-love as well?
It is absolutely self-love. Thank you for saying that, because I kind of get too passionate sometimes and I forget about things. Yes, absolutely. It all starts with self-love, because come on, we all know that like we can't love anyone like properly, healthy in a healthy way, without self-love and self-acceptance. So absolutely, it starts all with self-love and goes through all the kind of different dimensions and ends with like the global concept of love, showing through philanthropy, altruism, through like charity work, like this global aspect of love, so just giving people endlessly. This is the center of unconditional love. So this is not where, hey, I'm gonna love you if you do this or that for me, or like when a parent's
that's kind solar plexus.
That is, in a way, yeah, because solar plexus wants to achieve, or maybe even root chakra, if it only, I don't know, if it only wants like the material things in a way, but yeah, this either or, but the heart chakra is, hey, I love you unconditionally, no matter what. That doesn't mean I accept your BS, but in a way, I still deep down I love you. I may create my boundaries. I may set my boundaries, and actually, the boundary work goes down to the sacral chakra. But these two are also connected, because what happens, like I like to call. Actually, yesterday I spoke with a client, and she didn't quite understand the difference between these two, because hey, this is relationships, and here are relationships. How come? I say, okay, imagine the sacral chakra in this compartment, in this particular compartment of love and relationships, because it has also many other processes, but the little sister of the heart chakra. So basically, as I said, love, connection, unity with other beings, but also forgiveness, also generosity, gratitude. So important. Gratitude, being grateful, thankful for all things in our life. Being grateful for even waking up. A lot of people with heart chakra disorders usually have some unprocessed grief, and they usually have some forgiveness to do, to grant, because These are very often long-term, like years-long imbalances of the heart chakra. And as you know, now the heart chakra is a kind of bridge between the lower energy centers, the physical 3 energy centers, and the spiritual energy centers. So if the heart chakra is blocked, the flow of prana cannot go on properly. And unfortunately, many people for years have blockages in this energy center, and unfortunately, they struggle a lot in relationships, with forgiveness. They carry a lot of resentment. They hold a lot of grudge against people, like long term, years long. One more thing I want to add here. Also, I have many people coming to me and say, "Hey, okay, so what's wrong here?" Because I went to a Reiki practitioner and they told me, "Hey, my heart chakra is completely out of balance." And I say, "How come?" Because I'm in a loving relationship. I have amazing friends. Like my whole kind of all aspects of love are just, perfect. So how come my heart chakra is out of balance? They tell me. And then I asked one question: how is your work life? And she goes, why is that even important? It's about love, right? And no, dear, because the heart chakra is also responsible for our life mission and our life purpose and higher purpose here on earth, because we are spiritual beings in a human body. Don't understand that we come here for a reason. I strongly believe that. And if we don't discover this reason, if we don't discover our life purpose, some people are lucky to have discovered it a long time ago, but if some others don't and struggle a lot with that, and people are in the wrong jobs, in unfulfilling careers, they sometimes bring a lot of money home, but they're just empty inside. And this is one big thing about the heart chakra, that it caters for all kinds of love. Also, love understood as service to the world, because you can only properly serve to the world if you're fulfilling your life purpose.
Yeah, and that's really interesting how you say it's like a bridge between the lower and the higher, the material, and the more spiritual chakras. And I guess that woman, that's a perfect example of like love as it associates to the material meaning that a lot of people associate with it, compared to, the purpose, the passion, the service, the more spiritual elements of love. Love it.
Absolutely. So many people, I say it on purpose, because so many people nowadays struggle with that. They have amazing careers that pay their bills and mortgages and travels and everything, and everything is supposed to be great, but it isn't deep down. And I was there too, because I was happy in my corporate job until I wasn't. And then I realized, hey, something is clearly not working. And then look what happens. A year later, I discovered my heart chakra is completely blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidence?
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on up to the throat chakra.
Yay! We have three remaining chakras.
The higher ones, the good ones we want to get to.
Now we're entering the spiritual realm of the chakra system. And the kind of gateway to the chakra system is the throat, to the spiritual realm is the throat chakra. The throat chakra is all about communication, self-expression, about authenticity, about honesty, about being ourselves and expressing ourselves fully and almost, I want to say, unapologetically. So here we are like, this is this true honesty about ourselves, with ourselves, about life, and with other people. So expressing ourselves, and by expressing ourselves, I mean in everyday situations. Hey, speaking our truth, being honest with people, being like in connection with ourselves, because sometimes it is hard to say something, something that's not working with other people. It's about also, that's another level of the boundary work I mentioned in the sacral chakra, because here we actually have to reinforce these boundaries. In the sacral chakra, in the healthy sacral chakra, we say, okay, no more. I was in a toxic relationships. All my boundaries were broken. Now I'm setting new boundaries, and actually it is only the throat chakra that has to actually reinforce them and make sure they work, they are respected. So, and sometimes it means saying no to someone, right? Just being simply assertive, and sometimes it means so many other things, just maybe also ending a relationship if that's the case, if that's gone too far. So this is everyday life. However, the throat chakra is also about a higher level of creativity. So remember when I talked about the sacral chakra, that sacral produces the ideas. It creates the creative force. However, the throat chakra, its task is, among other things, is to bring it out to the world. So imagine a situation like someone is super creative and wants to create things and but just can't get it out. And people struggle, so many artists struggle. And then the perfectionist comes into play, which is again the solar plexus chakra, because it wants to make things perfect and it wants to perform. And then at the same time, it creates self-sabotage. Look how connected they all are. Incredibly. I can't even stop being excited about it. But basically the throat chakra is all about communication, self-expression, honesty, authenticity, communicating our truth. And this is also where the life purpose discovered in the heart chakra also comes to the surface. So here we say, okay, so now I don't only know my life purpose, actually I have to act upon it. I have to have the courage to say to the world, hey, for example, me, it took me years literally to say to the world, hey, I'm no longer a corporate marketing manager, which I had been for 10 years. I'm no longer a business leader or executive. I am actually a healer now, or I'm a life coach. It took me literally years to be able to say it, because my throat chakra was like, okay, but let's keep it for ourselves, I'll keep educating myself. I will keep doing all these trainings and courses, but let's not tell anyone,
I can imagine a lot of people in the Clouds and Dirt community are facing that. They feel a calling really deep in their heart. And I know I was there not too long ago as well, but the expressing it and being authentic with it and being in integrity with it is a very, very hard leap to take.
Absolutely. That's the reason, part of the reason I said it, because I know how hard it is at the beginning, especially when you come from this super mind science oriented field, like hardcore business or whatever, science, whatever. And then all of a sudden you discover your calling, your purpose, and you're like, okay, now I know why. What the heck am I gonna do about it? Because literally, am I gonna be laughed at? Are people gonna think I went crazy? Which I've experienced. And I totally feel you ladies, because I've been there, and I agree with you. I think many people struggle with it big time, because so many people are awakening right now, and yet we are not prepared to embrace this calling, to embrace this discovery of your life purpose. Because who teaches you this? They don't even teach us properly at school about emotions, let alone spirituality.
They're teaching down in the lower chakras.
They're all in the lower chakras. That's the problem. I think if they were in the higher chakras energy, we would be in a way different place as a civilization. I mean, spiritually.
Yeah.
I don't think there would be political leaders or world leaders that would still want to create war, for example.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different topic.
Okay, so we're in our heart, we have our purpose, we're speaking our truth, and now we're moving up to the third eye chakra, right? what goes on? Is it the third eye chakra, the next one? It's the crown chakra and then third eye, right?
Third eye chakra, Ajna, and crown chakra Sahasrara. And sorry, I didn't mention this. I think Vishuddha is the name, the Sanskrit name of the, so we've got Muladhara, sacred Svadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Ajna, and Sahasrara.
Mm-hmm.
So Ajna, the third eye chakra, is a very interesting one. It's very connected to what we just discussed, Megan. And by this I mean the life purpose and the calling, the life mission, because it's actually here that we start listening to our inner voice, and we start kind of giving it a go in a way. And this is where our practical mind gets a chance to go away for a walk and we kind of start leading our heart. But this is our third eye that actually has a vision of it in many different ways, because it doesn't have to be an actual vision. You know, we all have different senses. You know, with some people are more clairvoyant, some people are more like they hear things, some people just have to touch things or sense things. So we all have these all different kinds of abilities. That doesn't matter. But like vision, it is the virtual vision, literal vision, but it's also the metaphorical vision. So vision of yourself, vision of life, the understanding that there is a deeper truth behind all of it. It's literally like, okay, wake up, get up, go to work, come back, do their stuff, and sleep, you know? And I'm not saying I don't do this too, you know, and or anyone here in this community. I just say I want to believe there is a deeper truth behind it, and there is a wisdom, deeper wisdom behind it. And I like to spend time to find this wisdom within me, because I strongly believe that all answers are within us. We just have to find a way to extract them. So the third eye chakra is all about our kind of sixth sense, our intuition, our deeper wisdom that we all have. All we need to do is kind of take it out, extract it, to bring it up to the surface. So this is a very important center, especially in the higher kind of in the higher areas of our life, where we, for example, we struggle. Like, you know, everyone has struggles in life, and you are looking for those answers. And so many times we look for the answer outside. You know, we go to a psychic medium, we go to a psychologist, we go to a coach, which is all great. I think it's amazing, and it's amazing. You know, I'm one of these people too. It's amazing we get help and support, but so many times we could find an answer easily within us if only we were connected with our third eye chakra.
So I can see like a lot of examples of being imbalanced in like the lower chakras and the heart chakra and the throat chakra. But can we be overactive in the third eye chakra? Like, what would an imbalance manifest like in that chakra?
These two are generally physically connected with the nervous system. So it may sound like a bit strange, but so this is where very often different kinds of mental illnesses, mental disorders, personality disorders manifest. With overactiveness, that could be all kinds of obsessions, paranoias, maybe phobias. And with underactiveness, completely like, you know, like you're this earthly existence here. I just want to eat, and I want to get my stuff done, and all I want is this. So you're not even like, you know, and I'm not even talking about any kind of spirituality, like in a bigger sense. I mean, just basically believing there is more, you know. So this is underactiveness. Overactiveness is like when you get almost a little bit airy, like these kind of people who seem to me like seem to you sometimes like they're on the cloud, and they're just float there, but in a very particular way. Maybe like it may manifest in a way through some kind of eccentricism, some kind of like just being different, and being different but not for the sake of your ego, so not being different because you want to be so individual and your solar plexus chakra is kind of trying to show off, but being really different and not kind of not quite embracing it too. And then eventually it may, among other things, it may manifest through certain mental disorders.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. Okay. We are like we're running over an hour, and I'm really enjoying this, and I think everyone watching is as well. But let's move on to the crown chakra. This is probably for me the one I know like the least about. So I'm really interested to hear you talk about this one.
This is a really interesting one, and many people kind of say the same things as you just did. I'll just give an example. Because when I was first doing my first transformational retreats, which I base all on the chakra system, I remember in Thailand, and I was planning this thing because it was happening in Thailand, and it was 7 days. So I invited my ladies for 7 days, and I was like, okay, but what do I do on the 7th day? Because the crown chakra, like if people are not there, they're simply not there. Do you know what I mean? It's like you cannot explain something they don't know that it exists even.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was struggling a lot with this one. I was like, okay, it's such a spiritual. So Sahasrara, the crown chakra, is all about your higher spirituality, about your higher consciousness. It's how divinity shows within you and other people. So it's about the source, it's about the light, it's about God, it's about whatever you want to call it, because everyone calls it a different way. It's not about a religion in any way, but we all have our gods, we all have our spiritual kind of associations. So whatever that is for you, if it's the light, the source, Buddha, Jesus Christ, or Mother Teresa, that doesn't matter. Or maybe it's nothing. Maybe you feel you're divinity, you're the higher consciousness, and that's good too, so no judgment upon it. It's just believing that it really exists and there is a higher force, and it's being in touch with it, which so many people unfortunately are not. So going back to the example from my retreat, and I was like, okay, what the heck do I do here? Like, I had so many activities for every day planned, and it was the first time I did that retreat. Now since then I've done many of them, so now I'm kind of smiling, but I was really struggling with this one, because as I said, you either understand it exists or not. And then I was like, you know what, let it be just an easy day of embracing all of the 7 chakras, because the crown chakra cannot function properly if other chakras are not in balance. It's basically a sum of knowledge and wisdom collected, accumulated by the other 7 chakras.
Is it, in your opinion, do many people access the crown chakra, the 7th chakra? Are people accessing it more?
Megan, I lost you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah.
In your work and in your experience, are you seeing more people accessing the crown chakra? And, how, I guess by helping people diagnose and align their chakras, you're providing them access to that chakra. But I mean, is it either active or like completely not engaged at all? Like, how does that work?
No, it is, you see, because there are 2 things that I think also it's like a little bit now going deeper into the concept, but I think it's worth saying at this point. There's two things. There is chakra evolution and there is chakra energy. Chakra evolution is basically, I don't want to talk too much about Hinduism and reincarnation, but basically in short, the idea is, and the chakras don't come from Hinduism, they actually were created before, but they're associated, so they took over because they come from India, the whole concept, they took over a lot of concepts, or maybe Hinduism took over a lot of concepts from the concept of chakras. Anyway, what was first, right? Anyway, the concept of reincarnation, we don't even have to call it this way. Basically, to understand the chakras properly, you have to believe one thing, that we come here as souls to learn things on earth. We come here to get our lessons, to obtain learnings. And we do so through all life experiences. We learn. And if we don't learn, if we don't pass the examinations, the lessons keep coming back. So if we only believe there is just this lifetime, we can just adjust this theory and say, okay, within this lifetime, these lessons will come back. This is the kind of, proverb, whatever we want to call it, like, you get those little nudges from the universe. Hey, change your lifestyle, eat healthy, do healthy things. Nothing happens, you don't change it. And then the kind of big truck comes and just bumps into you, or you get a diagnosis of a severe illness, and then you wake up all of a sudden and say, hey, I've had such a great life. Why didn't I just take care of myself, right? So something super radical has to happen so that we kind of make this mental shift, or maybe sometimes spiritual shift too, right? Going back to the evolution of chakras, so if we just want to believe it's within one lifetime, it's okay too. If we want to believe in a broader perspective, which is, hey, we come as souls to earth multiple times in different incarnations to learn our lessons. It means we also acquire certain knowledge over these lifetimes, or within one lifetime over years. And this knowledge at some point turns into wisdom. So if we have this wisdom, it means, again, simplifying, it means, hey, we can move on to another lesson. Sometimes like you kind of feel, oh, I'm in such a good point in my life, and then something happens, and it's not just to punish you, it's just you're ready for another lesson. It's just that. So seeing everything from a perspective of learning and experiencing life lessons, as opposed to, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why is this, all the kind of victimization? It so changes the perspective. So going back to the chakras, with this knowledge in background, we know, okay, so the chakras also collect wisdom. They actually carry the wisdom of all lifestyles, of all lifetimes, and of all experiences we have experienced as human beings. And this means they're evolved to a certain degree in every person, because you incarnated now with this knowledge of your past lifetimes, or you are at whatever age you are right now, you already have gathered the knowledge of your previous years. So in this sense, this is chakra evolution. And some people only evolve in the lower chakras because they're simply not ready, and then eventually something all of a sudden happens, big awakening, you've heard about those things, wow, or maybe close to death experience, or sometimes very radical things happen for this. But some people would never do it in this lifetime because it's not their lesson. They still have lessons in the lower centers, and that's okay. Everyone comes with a different kind of mission here. So going back to the question, we have chakra evolution, and then we have chakra energy. And energy is what we talked about at the beginning. So it's a temporary thing. So it may change on a daily basis even. Something happens during the day and your energy changes too. Your thoughts change, your emotions change. So this is totally it changes. However, the chakra evolution, it doesn't change so easily because it requires new knowledge from you to acquire. So coming back to your question, especially in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual higher chakras, it's impossible to jump over to them if you don't have business done to a certain degree, at least to a certain extent, in the lower centers, simply because you're simply not ready to take this truth.
I love it. I love it when you put it in the context of chakra evolution. And I think we all like can think of people who are, and maybe ourselves, who are kind of at a certain evolution in our chakras and may not go past that in this lifetime. And by putting it in that kind of perspective, you know, it's just their journey, and that's where they are in this lifetime. And you know, it's something that we must accept. But that is a whole topic that I think we need to just talk about another time, because it is, we could go pretty deep into there as well. Or, I mean, I've already learned a little bit about it in your course, and I think that this has just piqued a lot of interest for anybody listening. And I believe now, if you didn't know already, there's a lot that happens in the world of chakras, and it's integrated and it affects us in more ways than we could imagine. And that is what I'm learning about in your course. And let's take a minute and talk a little bit more about that, because I think anybody that's listening to this would probably benefit from joining me in this 8-week program, learning all about the chakras and how they relate to a modern lifestyle. So can you talk for a minute about your course?
Of course, thank you. So as you said, it's an 8-week journey through the chakras. My big intention behind this course, and as I see my mission, is to bring the chakras, as I said at the very beginning, to the modern woman. So I believe the chakras, so many people like advanced Kundalini or yoga practitioners, meditators know so much about them, yet they find no ways of bringing them to the real people, you know, to everyday life. And it took me some time to understand this, that, okay, it is actually applicable in everyday life. Like we've used just in this conversation so many examples. And I always, like, this is always my intention to do so, and not being so overly spiritual, because some people will never kind of get it. And it's not about it's not about being such a smart ass and, not reaching the people that you actually want to reach, it's like with yoga. I'm
a smart ass.
No, seriously, because come on, like, all these people on Instagram showing off their yoga poses, and like a usual, like regular yoga practitioner will never get to a headstand. So how do I, as a yoga teacher, for example, make it attractive and cool and nice for them? I see. And just to use this example, going back to the chakra system, same here, we could be showing off and saying, hey, it's such a big topic, because I've been personally studying this topic for the past 3 years. And as you know, I probably read every significant book on the subject, both in the Western and Eastern world. And I do this work and I learn every single day, and it still has so many like amazing discoveries for me every day. But I really, like, the intention behind this course was like collect all I learned over the past 3 years as a chakra lover, as a meditation practitioner and teacher, as a yoga teacher, as a healer, as a coach. I also do chakra coaching. So I work online with people every day through the chakra system. And this also gives me additional knowledge and additional wisdom and additional discoveries. So I literally like poured my heart and soul into this course with the intention of bringing it to the modern world, and specifically to the modern woman, which I believe it is important that we kind of that we get more tools to deal with our daily struggles and with our daily challenges as as a woman, as a sister, as a friend, as a partner, as a mother, as a daughter, as a leader, as a team member, whatever function, as a community member, or whatever function we have in the world and in the society. I believe the more tools we have, the better. And chakras provide so many amazing tools because they simply act holistically. So on both the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level, they kind of give you a powerful diagnostic tool to spot any imbalances in your life. So I studied extensively the psychology side of the chakras, because I just upgraded this course. So you guys getting like it's my second edition, but this one is like brand new on a whole different level, because I added a lot of like kind of psychological aspect of it, and I wove into it so many different concepts. So not only mindfulness, not only yoga, not only meditation, and not only healing as such, but actually like the psychological aspect. So if you have recurring patterns in your life, if you keep attracting certain kinds of people into your life, if you have like a recurring romantic theme in your life that you cannot get rid of, if you keep struggling with money, if you cannot do public speaking even though you've tried like many times, but something feels blocked, and you're a big like corporate leader, let's say, and you have no way of putting yourself out there, or any other thing you're struggling with in a recurring way, there is probably a solution in the chakra system.
Yeah, and I can totally attest to the comprehensiveness of your course. Not only is it the written modules, you've got audio, you've got meditations, you've got yoga practices, a workbook, self-reflection. Like, it's really taking people deep. And I have to say, I think that you are becoming, and you will be, a leader in this chakra space in the world. Like, I don't think anybody has had as much practical and theoretical application of the chakras as you, and I am so honored to be able to support you and getting your message out into this world.
Thank you so much, Megan. It's not quite, there are amazing people that are in the chakra, are like proficient at it, are much older than me. There are at least 2 women in the States. One is Karen Mays, one is Anodia Judith, that I also learned from quite a lot, more on the Western kind of, the Western perspective, because when I came from Asia after so many years, like everything was like all about the spirituality. But as we just said, to bring it to the modern world, you need just the Western perspective. So I did study some Western teachers too. However, I think in a way, maybe my work in a way is to bring it even deeper to the regular people, because these ladies also already are like on the spiritual edge a lot. So yeah, this is how I see it. And of course, yes, as you said, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of resources in this course. I was only updating this course, upgrading it for at least 3 months. The past 3 months I spent on it. And I already had a course before it, so I had something to build upon. It's not that I didn't build it from scratch. So you can imagine there's a lot of focus on self-discovery work in this course. So as you know, there's you get a lot of workbooks, a lot of powerful self-discovery questions that I use in coaching a lot too. So they're by no means just accidental, they're over connected. You get each chakra specific module has 10 exercises that will help you diagnose your chakra situation, that help you balance it, bring it to balance, that will help you to just float on this good energy. And you can always come back to them whenever you feel out of balance. And after completing the course, you will have so much more knowledge about where the imbalance can come from, and then all you need to do is come back to this particular module that you already know of, and do some exercises and do some deeper work and do some inner work. And this is how I build this course. You can always come back to it. You get it for life. Doing the work, because there's always some work to do.
Yeah, that's great. And that's great that you get access to it for life, because I would imagine the chakras, nothing's really changing there, but our different experiences in life will change, and to be able to jump back to this wisdom is really powerful. And I've got to say, from like just putting my marketing hat on, it's probably the most beautifully laid out and designed course I've ever seen. Anna, as she mentioned before, her background is in corporate marketing, and it's just such a pleasure to have a course that is just flows so nicely and is so beautifully put together. And I did want to mention that you are offering a discount to the people in the Clouds and Dirt community. So the course has started this week, but there's still plenty of time to jump into Module 1. And I think it was a 20% discount that you have decided to offer the Clouds and Dirt community, which is a great incentive. And as I mentioned before, I would love to have as many of you join me in this. I think it would be a really fun experience. And I would love to have like a little tribe of Clouds and Dirt chakra people where we can, you know, discuss and just share our learnings with each other.
Absolutely. I'm happy to offer this discount. We just started this week. So you ladies, we're only on the introductory module right now. So you can still jump on and have the whole experience. We are only warming up now. The Facebook group is there, but ladies, for some reason, there's a new trend. People are just want to stay off Facebook, which is so like, no, I don't know. That's so funny, because I've done so many different courses and online challenges, and people were always, you know, maybe not always active, but joining. And here people are like, I'm just chilling here. I'm doing, and you know, and I get emails. Hey, Anna, I'm doing my work, so I just need my own space. And how interesting, you know. I added this extra bit of support because I know it in the chakra work, it may get, at some point it may get really tough. So I added this. So there is a dedicated Facebook group for the next 8 weeks. So ladies, join in. 20% discount for the course if you book by Sunday. So this is where on Monday we start the real work, meaning the first chakra specific module is being released, and every week you're gonna get access that hopefully you will find time to work through it all.
Fabulous. All right. Well, what we'll do is we're going to leave a link to the course in the comments, and I'll also do a post about it and how people can get this discount. Anna also does one-on-one coaching. She does retreats. So we'll leave a link to your website so people can find out more about you and what it is that you offer. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been such a wonderful conversation, and I'm just so excited.
It's a pleasure with you, as I say, and I've said it. So many people, you are doing such an amazing work, and I can't say enough of it, and I can't get enough of it. And I really wish you all the best, and I'm here also to support you in realizing your mission. And I'm so happy we got to know each other.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who joined us today. Anna will be going through the comments and responding to you guys shortly. So we will get back to all those comments. And everybody else, have a fabulous day.
Bye-bye, ladies.
Woohoo! All right, we're done. The live stream is done. I'm going to